Far out in the Atlantic west of the African coast, Cape Verde is a country made of islands, wind volcanic stone, and open water. To understand how people live here, it is not enough to look at the beaches. Everyday life is shaped by distance between one island and another, between dry land and fresh water, and between home and relatives who have built lives overseas. So what does an ordinary day look like in a nation where the ocean is both a road and a barrier? The answer begins early, before the heat settles over the streets and before the harbor reaches its busiest hour. Along the coast, small boats move toward shore. Engines fall quiet as ropes are pulled in. Plastic crates scrape across concrete. Fish are lifted from the boats, sorted, weighed, carried, and sold. Some people work directly on the water. Others wait at its edge. Vendors, drivers, shopkeepers, families preparing food, and customers watching the morning catch change hands. Nothing about this scene is only decorative. The boats are not there to complete a postcard. They are part of a chain connecting the sea to the table, the harbor to the neighborhood, and one working day to the next. Cape Verde, or Cabo Verde, is an Atlantic archipelago of 10 islands, 9 of them inhabited. But the country does not repeat itself from island to island. Each has its own scale, terrain, and rhythm. Santiago holds the capital and the country's largest concentration of people. São Vicente is closely connected to Mindelo, its port, and its cultural life. Santo Antão rises into steep valleys and mountain roads. Fogo is marked by an active volcano. Sal and Boa Vista are widely associated with beaches and tourism. Between all of them lies the daily challenge of connection. On a map, the islands appear close enough to belong together. At sea level, the distance feels different. A journey may begin at a ticket office, a harbor gate, a roadside stop, or an airport terminal. Bags carry more than clothes. They may hold food tools, documents, gifts, or goods intended for sale. Travelers check the time, watch the weather, and wait for the route that connects their island to another. This is one of the first truths of life. Here, movement is never merely background. It shapes work prices, family visits, access to services, and the simple question of what can arrive today. In Praia, on the island of Santiago, the morning is less about silence than acceleration. Buses, taxis, and other shared transport collect passengers. Shop fronts open. School children cross streets in groups. Workers climb toward offices, construction sites, markets, workshops, and small businesses. Praia is the national capital, but its daily life is experienced at street level. The city spreads across plateaus and neighborhoods, with roads rising and falling through a landscape that does not flatten itself for convenience. A short distance on a map can become a climb in the sun. For many residents, the day is organized around transport, where it stops when it arrives, how crowded it is, and how long the next connection may take. At a roadside stall, goods are arranged in the shade. In a small shop, drinks are moved into a refrigerator. A mechanic lifts the hood of a vehicle. A seller counts change. Nearby, sacks and boxes are unloaded after traveling through a chain of ports, roads, warehouses, and shops. Much of Cape Verde's food supply comes from outside the country. That dependence becomes visible in packaging, shipping containers, prices, and the careful decisions households make about what to buy now and what can wait. Yet, a market is not only a place where global dependence appears. It is also where local knowledge takes over. Sellers know which produce will move quickly, which fish arrived fresh, which customers return regularly, and how much can be carried home. Buyers compare, ask, negotiate, and adjust. Economic pressure becomes a series of human decisions, one conversation at a time. The languages of those conversations reveal another layer of the country. Portuguese is the official language and the language of formal instruction, while Cape Verdean Creole, often called Crioulo, is the first language of everyday life for many people. Its sound varies across the islands, carrying local identity inside a nation already divided by water. You hear that identity in greetings jokes, bargaining music from a doorway, and the easy rhythm of people who do not need to explain the street to one another. But a city can hide how varied the islands really are. Leave Praia behind, and Cape Verde changes quickly. A road may pass dry slopes, scattered houses, cultivated valleys, or a fishing settlement built where mountains meet the sea. The same country can appear almost bare on one island and unexpectedly green in the valleys of another. Geography here does not simply frame life. It influences what kind of life is practical. In a coastal community, the working sequence is direct and physical. A boat approaches. Someone steps into shallow water to guide it. A rope is thrown. The hull is pulled closer. The catch is lifted out piece by piece. Hands rinse, sort, cut, and pack. A vendor balances what she can carry. A motorcycle or small vehicle takes part of the load toward town. The rest may be sold within sight of the water. The process has a beginning, a middle, and a result. By the time the sun is higher, the boat is quieter, the fish have moved, and the beach has returned to something closer to rest. Fishing continues to matter in coastal communities, but it should not be mistaken for the whole economy or for a way of life untouched by change. The same waterfront may serve artisanal boats, commercial vessels, inter-island traffic, tourism, and local trade. Young people may learn the work of the sea while also looking toward jobs in services, construction, transport, education, creative work, or abroad. Cape Verde's islands are often promoted through clear water and long beaches. That image is real, especially on Sal and Boa Vista, where tourism supports hotels, restaurants, transport excursions, and many related jobs. But a resort view is only one narrow angle. Behind it are kitchens starting before breakfast, laundry rooms, maintenance teams, drivers, reception staff, cleaners, guides, and businesses supplying food and services. Tourism does not operate separately from daily life. It draws on the same systems of water, energy, housing, transport, labor, and imported goods used by the wider community. On a dry island, a swimming pool or hotel garden belongs to the same resource calculation as homes, shops, and public services. This does not make tourism a simple problem or a simple solution. It makes it part of a daily balance how to welcome visitors while building an economy that also serves people who live here all year. For residents, the beach may be a workplace in the morning, a football field in the afternoon, and a meeting place near sunset. Children run where visitors take photographs. Fishers read the wind where tourists read the color of the water. One coastline holds different meanings at the same time. Cape Verde cannot be understood through scenery alone. The landscape becomes meaningful when we see what people do within it. At home, another sequence begins with a pot. Corn and beans form the base. Vegetables are added. Depending on the household and the occasion, fish or meat may follow. The ingredients cook slowly, changing from separate items into cachupa, the dish most closely associated with Cape Verdean cuisine. There is no single pot that represents every family or every island. Recipes vary, portions vary, and availability matters. But the method says something important about island life. A dish can carry history, practicality, memory, and adaptation at once. Preparation begins before the meal. Dry ingredients are checked. Vegetables are cut. A lid is lifted and replaced. Steam clouds the kitchen. Someone tastes the broth. Another person sets bowls or clears a small table. What looks simple from outside is a sequence of decisions shaped by time, cost, appetite, and habit. Food in Cape Verde reflects the sea, but also the difficulty of producing enough on dry land. Fresh fish may be local. Corn beans, rice, oil, vegetables, and other supplies can come through different routes, including imports. The finished meal hides the complexity of how its ingredients reach the kitchen. Leftover cachupa is often fried and served again, sometimes at breakfast. It is a small example of a wider island logic: use what is available, waste less, and allow routine to become a form of resilience. Meals also create space for news. Who is traveling? Who has called from abroad? When will a relative return? Is the ferry running? Has work been steady this week? These questions connect the household to the wider geography of the country. Cape Verdean families have been shaped by migration for generations. Relatives may live in Portugal, the United States, the Netherlands, or elsewhere. Money sent home matters, but the relationship is larger than remittances. It includes calls, messages, parcels, visits, advice expectations, and long periods of absence. A house can therefore belong to more than one place. Photographs on a wall may hold people who remain part of daily family life even when they are thousands of kilometers away. A child may grow up hearing stories of another country while learning that the islands remain central to family identity. Migration can open opportunity, but it also divides time. There are departures, returns, empty chairs, crowded reunions, and plans that depend on documents, savings, and work. For Cape Verde, distance does not end at the shore, it continues across the Atlantic. The ocean is the most visible presence, but fresh water is one of the country's most limited resources. Rainfall is scarce and unpredictable. On many islands, the landscape shows this: immediately exposed rock-dry riverbeds, pale soil, and plants shaped by wind. Agriculture continues where terrain, water, and human effort make it possible, but the conditions are never taken for granted. In a farming area, the day begins with inspection. A grower checks leaves, soil, irrigation lines, walls, and channels. A small change in moisture matters. Water cannot be treated as an endless background resource. It has to be stored, directed, measured, and protected. In wetter valleys and irrigated plots, crops such as sugarcane, vegetables, fruit, maize, pulses, roots, and tubers can grow. A few kilometers away, the land may look entirely different. This contrast is one of Cape Verde's defining visual truths. The country is often described as dry, yet dryness is not uniform. Elevation, wind exposure, and local water systems create many small climates inside the same archipelago. For towns and cities, desalination has become essential to the supply of fresh water. Producing it from the ocean requires energy, infrastructure, maintenance, and money. The sea surrounds every island, yet usable water still has to be produced, moved, stored, and carefully distributed. That fact changes the meaning of ordinary actions. Filling a container, washing a floor, watering plants, running a guest house, preparing food, or serving a hotel room all belong to a larger calculation. Cape Verde has invested in desalination, public networks, storage, irrigation, and more efficient water management. Technology does not erase geography, it helps people negotiate with it. The same is true of food. A large share of national consumption depends on imports, making ports and transport systems central to everyday stability. A delay in shipping is not an abstract problem. It can become a missing product, a higher price, or a household choosing a substitute. Still, daily life rarely looks like a constant emergency. People build routines around the conditions they know. Shopkeepers maintain supplier relationships. Families keep staple foods. Farmers select crops and methods that fit local realities. Communities learn where water can be found and when it must be conserved. Resilience here is not a dramatic pose. It is repetition, checking, carrying, repairing, waiting, saving, and beginning again the next morning. To move between islands is to understand Cape Verde as a country of schedules, costs, and uncertainty. At a port, passengers gather with luggage at their feet. Cargo waits nearby. Vehicles line up. Workers check documents and direct movement. A ferry is more than transport. It is a temporary bridge between communities that cannot be joined by road. When boarding begins, the harbor becomes a coordinated sequence. Bags move. Families stay close. Travelers find seats. Engines deepen. Ropes fall away. The city slowly separates from the ship. From the deck, the island becomes a shape again. Mountains, houses, a harbor wall, then distance. For some passengers, this is a routine trip. For others, it may be connected to medical care, education, work, a family visit, a funeral, a celebration, or a return home after months away. The same crossing can carry ordinary errands and major life events. Air travel also connects the islands, but flights do not remove the limits created by capacity, weather schedules, and cost. A country spread across the ocean cannot centralize everything without consequences. Services, goods, jobs, and opportunities are not distributed evenly, and residents plan around those differences. For people on smaller or less connected islands, this can shape decisions about education and work. Staying may mean accepting a narrower range of options. Leaving may open new possibilities, but it also creates distance from family and the familiar pace of home. That decision is not unique to Cape Verde. What makes it distinctive is that moving within the country can still involve an ocean crossing. The journey also reveals why island identity remains strong. A person can be Cape Verdean and still describe home first through a particular island, town, valley, or neighborhood. The landscape is not interchangeable, and neither is the experience of growing up within it. Santiago is not São Vicente. Santo Antão is not Sal. Fogo is not Boa Vista. Their differences create practical difficulties, but they also prevent the country from becoming culturally flat. Each crossing brings those differences into view. In Mindelo on São Vicente, the relationship between Port Street and culture becomes especially visible. The city faces a broad bay with dry mountains rising behind its colored buildings. Boats, warehouses, markets, workshops, cafes, schools, and homes exist within a compact urban rhythm. People move between the waterfront and the inner streets, carrying the energy of a port city that has long looked outward. A market sequence begins with the building or square, then moves closer, produce stacked on tables, dry goods, measured fish, displayed fabric, folded hands exchanging coins, faces turning toward a familiar voice. The important detail is not simply color, it is recognition. Markets work because people return. Sellers remember buyers. Customers know which stall to visit. Information moves as quickly as goods. Outside, a repair shop opens onto the street. A barber sweeps the doorway. A cafe places chairs in the shade. Music escapes from a room before the person playing it can be seen. Cape Verde's musical traditions are internationally known, but their deepest meaning is local. Morna, recognized by UNESCO as intangible. Cultural heritage combines voice poetry and instrumental accompaniment. It appears in public performance, but also in family and community life. To hear Morna only as background music for beautiful islands would miss its social role. Its themes can hold love, longing, departure, memory, and the emotional geography of a people familiar with migration. A musician tunes an instrument. Fingers test a chord. Voices settle into the melody. Someone nearby stops speaking to listen. The performance may be formal or casual, but the room changes when the song begins. This is where distance becomes emotion. Saudade is often used to describe longing for someone or something absent. In Cape Verde, that feeling has been shaped by ships' flights, migration, and return. Yet the culture is not defined only by absence. It is also associated with morabeza, an idea of welcoming someone with warmth and generosity. Neither word should be turned into a tourism slogan. They matter because they describe relationships. Longing has meaning because people remain connected. Welcome has meaning because hospitality is practiced, not merely advertised. In a neighborhood at the end of the day, chairs appear near doorways. Children continue playing while adults talk. A food stall serves the last customers. A bus turns into a quieter road. The wind moves through the street as the temperature falls. The scene is ordinary, and that is exactly why it matters. Cape Verde's greatest contrast may be the difference between how small it appears and how large its daily geography feels. The country's land area is limited, but life is distributed across islands, slopes, ports, cities, dry plains, and valleys. A service available in one place may require a journey from another. A product on a shelf may have crossed an ocean. A family conversation may include voices from several countries. A glass of water may depend on the sea electricity and a network of pipes. This creates pressure, but it also creates a particular awareness. People understand connection because they know separation. They understand supply because they have experienced delay. They understand departure because migration is part of the country's modern history, and many families remain linked to a global diaspora. At the same time, Cape Verde is not frozen in an old island rhythm. Digital services, tourism, education, infrastructure, energy projects, and migration continue to change what is possible. Young people do not all want the same future, and no single image can represent them. Some will build careers in Praia. Some will work in tourism, transport, education, fishing, farming, construction business, or the arts. Some will leave. Some will return. Many will move between several of these worlds during one lifetime. The country's future will depend on more than endurance. It will depend on whether opportunity can reach beyond the most connected places, whether water and energy systems can grow sustainably, whether tourism can benefit communities more widely, and whether island identity can remain strong without becoming restrictive. Those are national questions, but they are lived privately in the cost of transport, the search for work, the choice to study away from home, the decision to open a business, or the hope that a child will not have to leave unless they truly want to. And still, amid these large questions, the day continues through small actions. A fishing net is folded. A market table is cleared. A driver makes one last route. A pot is washed. Water is stored. A message arrives from overseas. Music carries through an open window. Harbor lights come on. Cape Verde is sometimes introduced as a hidden paradise, a remote escape, or a chain of beaches in the Atlantic. But for the people who live here, these islands are not an escape from ordinary life. They are where ordinary life happens. The ocean provides food, work, movement, and beauty, but it also creates distance. The dry climate encourages care, invention, and difficult choices, but it does not define people only through hardship. Migration separates families, yet it also extends the idea of home across continents. Tourism brings visitors to the shore, while daily life continues in kitchens, markets, buses, ports, workshops, classrooms, and neighborhoods beyond the beach. To live in Cape Verde is to build connections across spaces that never fully disappear, between island and island, between rain and drought, between departure and return, between the person who stays and the person who carries home somewhere else. Perhaps that is what makes these islands feel larger than they look. Their story is not contained by their coastlines. It travels with every ferry, every shipment, every song, and every family voice crossing the Atlantic. When evening settles over the harbor, the boats become dark shapes against the water. The streets grow quieter. A final conversation continues near a doorway. Tomorrow, the same distances will have to be crossed again, not because life here is trapped by the ocean, but because people have learned how to make a country across it. For more human stories from places rarely seen beyond the postcard, continue with Best Hidden Places and the 4K Travel Documentary Collection.